What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex. You watching the Marvel edition of the Ragin Nation show. This is just a web series where we're talking about all things matter to me in the world of Marvel films. This is update number 5, and the Marvel Universe has, of course, been keeping me so busy with all the new updates. There is Avengers Age of Ultron, which is in production right now in Italy, and then we're getting Guardians of the Galaxy later this summer. Captain America Winter Soldier is just around the corner, and of course, I just did a reaction and review for X-Men Days of Future Past trailer number 2. So in this video, let's talk about what Sony has to offer, and that is, of course, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And what I want to talk about in this video is just a little bit of a follow-up on the future of the Amazing Spider-Man universe. What I read recently was that Sony co-chairman Amy Pascal mentioned that, and I'm not going to quote her directly, but she did mention that what we're going to see in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 sets up for what's going to happen for not just the next film, but also those villain spin-offs that we've been hearing all about. If you don't already know, we are getting The Amazing Spider-Man 3, The Amazing Spider-Man 4, a Venom spin-off movie, and also a Sinister Six film or Sinister Six films. So that's a lot of films that really expand the Amazing Spider-Man universe, and they've already got all the dates mapped out, except for what's going to happen with the Sinister Six films, but they definitely got the future sequels all planned out on when they're going to be released. So what does this tell us? Well, this tells us that Sony is doing to The Amazing Spider-Man what Marvel Studios is doing to the Avengers, and that is having all these character films all being released, and they're planning it out for the long term. So that is what's happening. And we kind of already knew this sort of thing, because mainly when we watched the trailer for The Amazing Spider-Man 2, we saw the vulture wings, we saw Dr. Octopus's backpack, you know, his tentacle backpack. And it doesn't mean that they're going to be in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. They already have 3 villains, Rhino, Electro, and Green Goblin. But what it does suggest is the future of the villains for the next coming films. Now, what's really interesting is that Mark Webb said that he's not coming back to direct The Amazing Spider-Man 4. But they already have a release date locked in for The Amazing Spider-Man 4. And another thing is that Andrew Garfield isn't signed on for the 4th installment of The Amazing Spider-Man. So I really don't know what they're going to do and where they're going to go with that. But let's just say they have it all under control and they have it all mapped out for us. All-right? So who knows what's going to happen. In the meantime, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is looking really good after I saw the last trailer. And what I want to talk about now is new images released from the latest issue of Entertainment Weekly. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so what we have right now is the cover of Entertainment Weekly, and it shows the Amazing Spider-Man himself, Peter Parker, with Gwen Stacy, played by Emma Stone. And first of all, I think that Emma Stone plays a perfect Gwen Stacy. And then next, we get this really interesting image of Rhino. And you get to see Rhino's size compared to Paul Giamatti, who was controlling the Rhino mechanical suit. So this gives you a really good idea of the actual size. And what we have here is another closer look of Rhino himself, or rather Alexei, played by Paul Giamatti, and he's inside the suit. And wow, this is like a full-on mech suit that's in the shape of like a standing, like a rhino that can stand on 2 feet. Just look at the big guns on this thing. This thing is fully armored, so really, really crazy looking. And here is, of course, the shot that we saw from the trailer where Spider-Man goes in slow motion using a manhole to slam it into Rhino. Here's Gwen Stacy hanging on to Spider-Man's web because it looks like she's falling down from a really, really tall building, inside her building. Now, this scene is very interesting. We got Dane DeHaan as a Green Goblin, and he's about to capture Gwen Stacy, and Spider-Man's in the background, so he better catch up to him. Now, here is Green Goblin. okay, played by Dane DeHaan. And there's the glider, and it reminds me of the glider that was used by Willem Dafoe. Not the new Green Goblin played by James Franco, because he was using a surfboard, like a hoverboard or something, or snowboard. So I'm glad that they're using like the more of the glider look. And here you see a behind-the-scenes photo of the costume department getting a Dane DeHaan all suited up for being Green Goblin, and I'm really liking this job that they're doing on him. Now, this makes me want to talk about the villains. Okay, we already know what Electro's gonna look like. We already know that he's got like electronic veins like flowing through his body. So I have nothing to talk about with regards to that. I have no comments about that. I'll just watch and see how they do that. All right, but I want to ask you guys about Rhino, okay? Now, we already know that Rhino is going to be Paul Giamatti inside a mechanical suit, okay? And Rhino is going to be like a mech, okay? How do you guys feel about that? I know there's going to be some mixed reviews because Rhino is supposed to be, you know, like he gets this hardened skin, this kind of polymer that makes him able to be more powerful, right? And eventually he is literally a human rhinoceros. All right, he's got the gray skin and everything, but you know that would look kind of silly in real life. I mean, but they could make it work. So there's only 3 ways they could go about doing this. Okay, they could make him like a creature, like the way he was in the comics, and use a full CG version of Paul Giamatti, okay? They could go the Thing route in Fantastic Four where it's a guy in a costume, okay, like a foam suit, or they could do it this way where he's a human piloting a rhinoceros mech, okay? Which would you prefer? I'm down with this because it still makes it grounded in reality, so I have no problem with this new direction. At least they have the rhino in it, and at least it looks like a rhinoceros. Now, moving on, let's take a look at the Green Goblin. Okay, originally I thought this was just New Goblin, or just Goblin, because James Franco was just called Goblin. He's like the new Green Goblin, or Goblin, whatever, right? He's the surfboard guy, okay? But, you know, which version of Goblin do you prefer? Do you prefer the Dane DeHaan version? Or would you prefer the Power Ranger looking Willem Dafoe Green Goblin where he's wearing this like Power Ranger suit? Or would you prefer the James Franco version where it's like this ninja looking guy on a surfboard? Okay? Let me tell you something. After seeing what they've done with Dane DeHaan, I think that this works a hell of a lot better than a Power Ranger and a ninja on a hoverboard. Okay, I really like the way this looks, and I like the fact that it's starting to look more like he's a goblin, like something like whatever, you know, whatever turned him to the Goblin made him more grotesque. You know, it makes him just more mutated. He doesn't look human to me. He literally looks like a goblin. Now, if you take a look at this next photo that was just released recently, this is a high-res version of Dane DeHaan's face as Harry Osborn, as the new Green Goblin. Now, this looks menacing. It looks sinister. It looks evil, and it looks like this guy is just someone you want to run away from because it looks so ugly. But great job on the makeup department. I think he looks fantastic as a Green Goblin. And Dane DeHaan, you know, when I saw him in Chronicle, I just felt that this guy can play a very scary supervillain, which he did in Chronicle. He was perfect in Chronicle, and I think that they cast the right person to play the Green Goblin, because just from the way this looks, you know, he looks like he can play Harry Osborn, you know, as Peter Parker's good friend, and it looks like he certainly pulled it off by playing Green Goblin. Now, of course, we haven't seen the movie yet, but based on this makeup job and based on what I've seen in the trailers, man, it looks good, and I can't wait to see it. So, 2 thumbs up in the costume department, the makeup department, the props department, all looks good, and I'm happy with this version of the Green Goblin. What do you guys think of that so far? Take a look at this photo right now, and do you think that this is the best interpretation of the Green Goblin based on this photo and the way he looks in the costume and the way the glider looks? All right. well, I'll tell you that certainly, for sure, this is better than Willem Dafoe's Power Ranger suit, okay? That's all I gotta say in this video. I just want to share with you my thoughts and feelings about the new photos from Entertainment Weekly, and of course the new look that Dane DeHaan has as Harry Osborn, and of course the upcoming new films from Sony Pictures for the Amazing Spider-Man franchise. There you have it. That's all I gotta say in this video. As always, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to me on YouTube. If you want to chat with me directly, follow me on Twitter at Ragin Nation, and also check out my photos on Instagram at the Ragin Nation. My name is Alex Yu. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah, by the way, I put the photos of the Entertainment Weekly photos on the Ragin Nation Facebook page. There's going to be an album for that, so if you want to comment on any of those individual photos, make sure you hit the like button on the Ragin Nation Facebook page and share with me all your thoughts. And that's all I gotta say. My name is Alex Yu. I'll see you next time. Peace. CG, because what we see right now is quite underwhelming, okay? Look at Ultron, how he looks here, and look at Ultron, how he's supposed to look in the comic.